Welcome to a new episode of Indie Talks, in which I'm hosting movie makers from the indie world, actors, stuntmen, fight choreographers, fight coordinators, performers, to discuss their work, influences, compulsions, achievements, experiences, and advices. Today's guest is an Australian Vietnamese actress, screen performer, director, script writer. She's well known for her work in The Last King of the Crows,
Mm.
Echo 8, True Sat, and many more. I welcome Mrs. Maria Tran. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you so much for having me on Indie Talks. It's a pleasure.
It's a great honor having you. I've been following your work for years, and I had this idea to bring you to the show. And thanks a lot for accepting my invitation and being part of this family of Indie Talks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure, dear friend. I know you were born in Brisbane, Australia. Is that right?
That's correct. I was born in Brisbane, but then I moved down to Sydney,
Ah, okay.
and then I lived there, and now I'm actually based in the US, but I
Ah,
come back
okay.
and forth to Australia. Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Your parents have immigrated from Vietnam to Australia in the 80s, I guess. You're
That's correct.
living in Australia now, and in Australia and United States, I think. How that served your career?
Well, growing up, I was a kid that was, a little bit nerdy, got bullied in school. So
Yeah,
I kind of always had a fantasy of being like a Jackie Chan or, a Donnie Yen or Michelle
yeah,
Yao, one of those characters in a movie where we fight against the bad guys and we win the day. So I think I was inspired by my upbringing of being, not very popular and being the only Asian kid in school, and then I guess not having any friends growing up.
yeah.
I had a bit of a fantasy of kind of imagining myself as a hero a lot of the time. So a lot of an imagination. I lived a lot in that world. But I think at the same time, it kind of helped me
Indeed.
really want to pave another way of being. Like I didn't want to be the nerd for the rest of my life. So I think acting and doing martial arts was a way to express myself.
Let's talk about martial art. What is your main martial art background?
Well, I started in Taekwondo when I was in 1998, I think, when I was in, yeah, I think I was in year eight or something like that. And that
Yeah,
was after a bullying incident in school. And my parents found out that I got bullied, and then they decided to put me into martial arts school so that I can learn how to defend myself. But I think during martial arts, I learned to have more confidence in my body, myself, and then I did some competitions and then I won. So it really gave me the boost that I needed. But I think with martial arts, like I don't think I was able to compete in the long run.
yeah, yeah.
So I think film was a way to express myself without being so competitive in martial arts. But I did do taekwondo, and then I did a bit of Shaolin Kung Fu for several years, and then Hapkido, a little bit of Vol Nam, boxing. So, and all of those skills I was able to work towards doing fight choreography and action design for a lot of the films that I work with. Hmm.
Yeah, you're diverse. There is a diversity in your martial art background, which served your career as a martial art action actress. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
really important.
And I think it's very important for everyone, men or women, to feel like there is their own inner power, and that starts with your body
Yeah.
and what you can do with your body and understand how your movements, how you feel, how your breath. People take their bodies for granted, and I really want people to find ways to get more connected with themselves through, and martial arts is a best way to do that. Mm.
Yeah. And how martial arts contributed in shaping your personality?
I think with martial arts, it gave me more self-discipline, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes, in life, some of the things that you want in life, you can't just get it straight away. It takes a lot of time, a lot of repetition, a lot of doing the boring stuff, and then eventually you just reach your goal. And I think martial arts allows you to feel more confident that there is a lore in the universe. Like if you work hard, if you persist, if you focus on your goal, you will get there. Whereas sometimes I feel like people, if they don't have the martial arts, they might be either a bit too entitled or maybe impatient, or maybe always wanting things to
yeah.
happen very quickly,
Indeed,
or they give up very easily
indeed.
as well. So these are
Yeah,
the attributes that I find that is quite common if people don't have a discipline to really center and ground themselves.
yeah. Martial art teach the discipline and the passion, which
Mm,
really help the person to do it to success in his life, of course.
mm.
I know a screen performer and an action actor or performer should always maintain the best shape possible to keep the flow. Well, what
Mm,
is your training routine for now, Maria?
mm. Well, I would still, I'm a very physical person, so I still go to the gym like, pretty much every single day, running, weight training. I think the martial arts, like, because I've already got the foundation, I don't necessarily train as much in martial arts,
Yeah,
but when needed, I feel like the movement is already in the body. So I just need to just, revisit it, but it's never going to be lost. I think as a martial artist, once you learn it for so long, it's always going to be in your sense of self. You never lose it, and the more you keep your body fit, it will then come out in the right timing. So yeah, so that's pretty much my maintenance training. But if I do a film or if I do theater, then I would train a little bit more rigorously for a project.
yeah, indeed. That's important for an action actor and screen performer to keep his workout permanently. Yeah.
Hmm.
I know you've been part of many indie action shorts and YouTube films. This kind
Hmm.
of films allow a good margin of creativity freedom, even though the very small budget. There is a lot of great talented people around the world making this kind of films. How could you describe your experience in the cinema?
Well, the indie cinema has always been, I would say, a place I call home because it's the only place that I feel I have the most control
Yeah,
and also the most autonomy and also being most heard. Because
indeed,
whether I work in the system, I work on big shows, TV shows, or movies, I feel like independent cinema is where I actually realize whether my skills is at a certain level.
indeed,
So, and it's interesting because when I do independent films, like everything is in my control, whether it's a success or a failure,
failure, yes,
me, right? So
indeed.
if it was a failure, I can't blame anyone. It's my fault. If it's a success, it's my team's success. So I really love independent cinema because it allows us to become very grounded and build communities. So people who come together who believe in your vision. And a lot of people over the years have believed in my vision, and they've donated their time, their resources, because they want to see what it is that I have in my head, you know, on the screen. And I'm really grateful for that. And that's why I try my best to work very hard and not be sort of like lazy or not be sort of like, oh, someone will look after it. Everything. I mean, I worked on a Jackie Chan film,
Oh,
Bleeding Still. So
yeah,
when he
yeah, yeah.
Jackie Chan came to Australia, I was a stunt attachment and I watched Jackie
Oh,
clean up rubbish bin. He was like, he was doing all the basic things,
yeah,
you know,
indeed.
and so it just made me feel like if someone like him who's a mega superstar who is cleaning up rubbish, who is looking after his team, that is the standard of a filmmaker, of an independent filmmaker. Mm.
Yeah, that's great, really. It's very inspiring to meet Jackie Chan and learn these values from him.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
How indie cinema contributed in shaping your artistic performance?
I feel like independent cinema, I really, because we don't have a big budget, we don't have a lot of resources. Every single time when I'm on screen, I do something, I need to do it in at least like maximum 3 takes.
Yeah,
So if I do it like 8 takes, I'm wasting too much time. So I always have to be very precise, very focused. And whenever the camera is on me, I have to really honor the moment and make sure I deliver. And even when I work with actors and action actors, I need them to also honor it. So when we work together, we work very fast. We work like Hong Kong cinema. It's
yeah,
not like,
indeed,
oh,
yeah.
here's we go, we set up, lights bang. Okay, actors are ready. In we go. We shoot maximum 3 takes. More than 3 takes means that they haven't actually focused enough. And then later on, I'll have a word with them. Next time, tomorrow when we come on set, I need you to focus on this, this, and this. So I'm actually quite. I get a chance to be quite upfront with people, but the only reason is because I care. I care that the project we're making and we want to make the best thing because we are competing with the studio, but the studio has all the money and the
Indeed,
resources,
yes,
right?
indeed.
The only
Yeah,
thing independent cinema we have is each other, our heart and our passion
passion, of
and our
course.
perseverance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find ways to make sure that everyone understands that every moment we are together making a film, it's very, very important and it is history in the making.
Yeah, that's the beauty about indie action cinema. It's all about passion and love, and yeah, you just take your camera and go to film anywhere you want, and yeah, even though the small budget, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, that's right. It doesn't matter. And I think even if you don't have the skills in the beginning, you will learn. You will
Yeah, indeed,
learn
yes.
from the ground. Like even for me with Echo 8, we've got like over, 100 volunteers, cast and crew,
It's a big
donating
team,
their,
yes.
yeah, it's a huge team, but they're all volunteers.
Ah,
And
yes.
we made an action film together, on a
It's
budget of $8,000 is ridiculous,
yeah,
right?
it's not
So,
easy to make that with that small budget and
exactly.
with that number of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
really inspiring.
Mm.
Are you influenced by some director or movie making style?
Well, I would probably say like Hong Kong cinema probably played a huge role in my growing up.
Yes.
Um, and I really love the economical way of filmmaking. And as a director, I have this thing where, to be a good director, you should be editing in your head, right? So when
Yeah.
you do the shot, you set up, everything should already be
Yeah.
computed.
In your yes.
Even though some people are like, oh, don't worry, just let the editor fix it. No, no, the director has the power to select choices, shots, and all that. So I would say Hong Kong cinema because I would say that era produced so many films
Yeah,
that are
indeed.
so high energy, highly physical, and really kinetic on screen. And I don't know if we have a lot of that nowadays,
Yeah,
but
indeed.
back in the days, there was a lot of it, and I was
Yes.
quite inspired by that movement. Mm.
Especially the 80s Hong Kong cinema, the golden age, of course. We
Yeah.
we will talk about that era of Hong Kong. Tell me, Maria, who's your role model director? who inspired you to?
Director. I used to love lots of John Woo films.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
the films that I kind of make, like there are certain references and style from that.
Especially the
Um,
movies probably he did with Shoyun Fat, I think. The guns
oh
fights and
yeah,
those kind of
and
films
the
were
guns
really
coming out, and then all of the what was it, the pigeons
pigeons,
flying away.
yes.
Yeah, it's really classical. Yeah, I think, it's really hard for me to sort of pinpoint like a director that I kind of would look up to, because most of the time, like I know that the era I love was Hong Kong cinema, and I would consume a lot of those films, and I love the visuals of that. I don't necessarily remember the directors, but that's sort of the tone that I like. And for me, my directing style has evolved over like studying psychology.
Ah,
And
yeah.
that's sort of my background that I've kind
Ah,
of
yeah.
been able to put into the work as a filmmaker. Yeah, and I really love, for me, I love connection. I love looking at actors, having them together, and having them do a scene, but then also like imagine and feel the connection that's invisible, and see the push and the pull between the characters. And I think a lot of it for me, I feel it's psychological, you know, and being able to be quite emotionally sensitive. Like when you watch actors do their thing, and I have a thing, I direct, and I do a lot of, I help a lot of people do their self tapes and direct them for auditions as well. So I have a thing where I would look at them, I can feel it when they're there in the character, or whether they're still pretending. Like I can
Yeah.
feel the sensitivity of how people get into character as well. And that's something that I bring to the table as a director. Mm.
That's really great. Uh, I know you did many indie action films. What was
Mm.
your first movie you have ever done?
I would probably say my first movie was a film called Maximum Choppage Round Two. It
Okay.
was probably 15 years ago.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
A
studying
long time ago.
psychology, and I found an ad in a newspaper looking for people to do, to be part of a movie, a community movie. So I replied to that, and yeah, I was on board, helping the movie out until one of the actors, like I think he left the role, and then they
Yeah.
just put me in the role, and I actually did an action role in the movie. And then I think that was my first taste of you know being in a movie, and acting, and like
Uh,
it. Yeah.
yeah, really cool. Was that challenging for you at that time?
Yes, because I feel like when I watch back, it wasn't good acting. You know what I mean? Because I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, yeah, of
I was like,
course.
oh, I was very like, it was very hammy. Like I've got dialogue, but I don't think I really understood what I was saying. So I kind of look like one of those cartoon villains.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's
because
okay, of course.
as an actor, you evolve, right? So
Of
you look
course,
back. So that was 15 years ago. Then I think as I kept on making lots of films, lots of short films, I started to learn more about and understand how to get into character. And even recently, working on Last King of the Cross, which is a Paramount
yeah.
series, working with people like Tim Roth, who is an amazing Academy Award nominee. His acting's brilliant. And I really got to learn a lot about how he gets into character, and how it's a quite a process, and it's quite a very cerebral process as well. And it's quite exciting because as an actor, how do people get into character? It's really hard to sometimes explain, but I do find it's quite a sacred moment where you let go of who you are,
Of
but
course.
you allow the character that you've built to have space to explore a connection with this other human being. And you kind of on the outside watching that happen. So, but it is hard to explain because people are like, it's not tangible. It's all kind of like, invisible. like mechanisms and things that are happening in your mind and your heart and your soul. It's hard to explain.
Of
Yeah.
course, yes. Only the performer knows how it works.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of your films and series. We start, of course, with The Last King of the Cross. It was a
Mhm.
remarkable series with the participation of a super talented cast. What was your part in this project?
Well, I play a character titled Madame Tien, and she's a refugee migrant from Vietnam, and she's living in a suburb called Cabramatta, and she works as a croupier, like a dealer in one of these kind of small little casino types. And for her and her brother, they're quite poor. So she kind of wants to, like rise up, like make money and all that. So she notices people are either getting into the drug trade, and she decides to get in herself. And then she becomes like a ruthless leader of this area, running in this kind of like triad, trying to take over the protagonist's sort of area. So it's a crime drama. So it's very different. It's a very different character from who I am. And on top of that, she has an accent, and she looks way older than what I look like as
Yeah,
well. So the hair and makeup artist did a really good
yeah,
job.
yes.
But yeah, so that was a very interesting character I had to play. It was challenging, but I find that I had quite an experience to be able
Ah,
to
yeah,
play somebody that's not me, you
yeah,
know? And a lot of times people have been convinced that I did quite well in the character as well, but they kind of go, "But you don't look like that. You look so different and you don't act like that." And it's just so interesting how you got into character. Because you just we can't imagine you like this. But so yeah, it's been quite good. To get the feedback that I think I did pretty well as an actor, getting into the character for that role. And it's going to open more doors for other things I know
yeah,
in the future as
that's
well.
for
Yeah.
sure. Where did
Mhm.
you film that? In the States or in Australia or?
So once I got the green card, I moved to America, and I was there for about 5 months.
Ah, yeah.
And then I auditioned for this role, and then I got it. And then they flew me back to Australia, and I was filming for, I think, about 6 months or so. And yeah, so that was quite good to be able to have sort of my first breakout role in something, in a role that's not like martial artist kind of role. It's a
Yeah,
very drama
drug.
based, dialogue heavy, complex. There's emotions, there's layers. So I was able to really showcase a different side of my skill sets. Mm.
Indeed, and of course, your indie background, of course, and experience helped you to achieve that level, of course.
Yeah, I think I feel like as a performer, I'm more economical. Like I always like um honor the time. So each time I'm on camera or the camera setting up, I'm always trying to make sure I'm already on my mark, already got getting ready so that they can call action and I can do the scene. So I always, because that's how I work as an independent filmmaker. All my
Yeah,
actors
of
are
course.
the cameras on, everyone's already, right? Whereas I feel like sometimes on bigger productions, things get there's more time to relax, more time to build up to then
Yeah,
film. So it's quite a different style, but I try my best to, be as economical and be on time and be there so that they can, production can be at ease to be able to capture what they need to do. Mm.
yeah, really interesting. And
Mhm.
of course, Echo 8 was
Mhm.
the first independent film, I think, set in Australia. Is that right?
It's the first female-led
Okay, ah, yeah,
female-led independent movie, yeah, in Australia, made on like pretty much a no budget.
yeah.
So yeah.
I have watched the trailer, of course, not the movie yet, but it looks really promising. You were the co-director of the movie,
Yeah.
producer. And the
Yes.
leading actress, besides
Yeah.
Takashi Hara, of course, who is your husband, I think. Uh,
Keep it in the family.
yeah, it's a family project, of course. How
Yeah.
much time did you spend shooting Eco 8?
We shot over 14 days,
Ah, yeah.
and it's a 19-minute action film. And it was a film that we shot it just before COVID hit.
Ah,
And
yeah.
then we only had a couple of days that we needed to shoot, and we had to wait until COVID kind of died down
Yeah.
a year later, because in Australia we had the some of the harshest lockdowns in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
we
remember
had to wait.
that. Yes. There have
Mm.
been a big waves of COVID back at the time.
Yeah, so it was 14 days, and then we did post production. And yeah, so now that it's out, it's been traveling around different film festivals around the US, different parts of Asia, Australia, and it's won quite a number of awards as well. So we've been quite happy about the outcome, and we're now writing the prequel and sequel,
Ah, yeah.
which we plan to shoot in 2025.
Cool. I'm
Mm,
looking
mm,
forward to check that, of course. Yeah,
mm,
it sounds really interesting and fun.
mm.
Obsidian, yeah, is that right? Is a psychological science fiction short film of a young couple's run-in with the loan sharks is thwarted by an arrival of a mysterious stranger. I see you did put a good effort in this short. How did you come up with the idea of this film?
Ah, so with Obsidian, it's actually Takashi Hara's baby project. It's his first time that he gets to lead a project, and that was his project. And Elizabeth H. Vu, our writer that who writes a lot of our other stuff, was the one that came up with the idea. I actually came on board as an actor, but also devised some of the action for the short film. Yeah, so and also produced it, as well as sort of co kind of directing it as well. So me and Takashi, we always double up on sort of different you know roles when it comes to
Yeah,
yeah. But we wanted to do sci-fi. So I think that was why we wanted to choose something like that, because we don't always want to just do action. We want to mix it up with different genres. And at that time we had someone who said, "Hey, we've got a little bit of money. Do you want to make a film?" And we're like, "Okay, let's do it." So that was how that project came about.
yeah. It's always, I think it's always fun and a lot of passion in making such a project, personal projects, indie projects, of course.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like with Obsidian, we only shot it over in, I think, 2 days. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
Well, again, it's not like a project where we shoot a week or 10 days. So we shoot quick for a 18-minute short film. It's like 2 days with
2 days,
action.
yeah. There's
Yeah, we really.
a lot of pressure,
Yes.
indeed.
Mm, mm, mm,
Okay, let's talk about Hit Girls.
mm.
What could you tell about this project?
Hit Girls was an idea that I kind of conceived because I was always watching a lot of like men do action, and I always get to do
Yeah,
cool stuff. And then I thought it'd be cool to see two, female assassins, but make a short film that had the comedy aspect to it as well. And I remembered at that time, because I kind of knew that Anthony Sito, who's a director of Wushu,
yeah, yeah.
um, was a film that was produced by Jackie Chan. He was coming to Australia, and he was bringing with him Juju Chan. And I kind of wanted to work with Juju Chan, and I remember that I told him that I wanted to work with him, and he's like, "Oh, do you have a project? Do you have a script?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll get you a script." So I did. I created Hit Girls. I wrote that and I sent that to him. And Juju was okay with it, and she came on board. She was perfect as Pixie Ho. And we shot that in like I think 2 or 3 days as well. So again, we called the community and anyone who wants to be a thug or get shot or have a fight
Yeah.
scene, they will come along. They'll be able to participate. So we filmed that, and to be honest with you, I didn't really think much of it. But then once I uploaded on YouTube and then it won, I think, a couple of film festivals, I realized, oh wow, like there is actually a demand for this. And someone told me, "Oh, Maria, it's so refreshing to see a woman direct an action." I was like, "What? I thought
Yes.
women can direct action."
Yeah, that's
They're
very rare to see a female
like,
director, of course.
and they're like, "Oh, but you also in front of the camera and behind the camera." I'm like, "Yeah, what's wrong with that?" And they're like, "It's very we don't know anyone else in the world that does it." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Wow." So I was like, "Oh, so I'm actually maybe, hitting onto a niche." And then it got me quite excited that maybe I should be continuing down this path because eventually I'll get more opportunities to really be doing it if I stick with it. And I stuck with it. Now I'm almost 40, right? So
Yeah,
so I've been
but
sticking
you
with
look
it
young.
since I know I look young, which is great, all right. But I stuck with it since I was 2020 or like so that's probably like 20 years. And I haven't stopped. My energy is still being the same.
The same,
And
yeah.
every project I do, I still love. And all the people I meet, whether they're new to action or their experience, I always love to find ways to make people comfortable in working on a project. So yeah, so I feel like eventually, hopefully, Hollywood will hire me. I don't
Of
know. We'll
course,
see.
yes, yes. It will happen one day, of course. Yeah,
Oh,
all you need is some time and, of course, passion and be patient with it and everything. Yeah, it will come.
thank you.
How was your contribution in developing martial art action cinema in Australia?
I guess I think my contribution would have been through doing so many independent films, like so many short films,
Yeah,
so many. And then not only that, like I did some TV series, and then I would also do action coordinating for certain projects. So I was always in some capacity, either in mainstream or doing independent stuff. But to be honest, I never rely on mainstream. Like if I get a job in the system, okay, great. But I always say to myself, regardless, I will always make my own stuff
yeah,
or work independent collectives and filmmakers. So I think the fact that I've never given up because over the years I've had lots of colleagues of mine, they gave up. They go, "Oh, it's too hard, Maria. Why do you keep on going? Like, it's we never gonna make it." And then so they leave. There's lots of talented people in the industry, in the independent cinema industry that would leave, and each time they leave, I have to find new people.
of
We
course.
have to train them up, and then we have to create projects for them to inject all the talent into. So it's not easy, and I keep going, but then sometimes I wonder to myself, I'm like, oh gosh, am I the only one? Am I the only crazy person that keeps
Yeah,
going?
of course. You have all the passion, of course. That's
Yeah,
why, and the
yeah.
love of the movie business. That's
So,
what lead you. That's what leading you so far.
so I think, yeah, that's my contribution is to keep going, be positive, and always find ways to keep on creating. And luckily, like now, I'm in between Australia and then also the US, and every now and then in Vietnam or Asia. So I still get to learn a lot from
Yeah,
different um, film productions. And because I learn a lot from Asia, so there was times where I worked in Vietnam on TreeSat, and then Death Miss and Feast of the Dragon in China. So that was through Anthony Sito, and I learned a lot about how they would work, how they worked quite efficiently, how they lead their team. Because as a filmmaker, it's not just about making a film; it's about leadership, creative
of course.
leadership,
Yeah,
how do you communicate to your team for them to believe in the vision that you're trying to achieve and to work together for that. That's always been something that I put as an important thing that what I do as a filmmaker. Mm.
Yeah, of course. And how do you see the future of action cinema in Australia?
Well, I think there's still a long way to go in
Mhm.
Australia. A long way to go because in Australia, is seen as very expensive to do, especially in the stunt industry, because it's highly regulated. But for me, I love to focus on, martial arts action, hand-to-hand combat, sort of visual storytelling through martial arts, which I don't think is only belonging to the stunt industry. It is anyone could do it, right? But it still is a long way to go because when you make a film, you need people, so I for me, that's why it's good that I'm in America as well, because I learn different things, and then I can go back to Australia and inspire them or people on new ways of working, more efficient ways of working, and the possibilities. And also the fact that in America there's a huge market.
Yeah,
Like
of course. Yes. Yes, in a
Echo
big industry, of course.
Echo 8's doing so well in the US, whereas in Australia, Echo 8's like, ugh, it's just an action film, right? But in the US, people love action film. In Europe, people love
Of
action film,
course, yeah.
right? So I'm starting to realize there are different demands and markets. And sometimes when you make a film, you don't necessarily need to market locally. You can look at international countries and places where your film will be appreciated even more. So I'm learning to understand that process now.
Yeah, I know a large community in LA, in Los Angeles, of course, independent movie makers, stuntmen, performers, fight
Mm.
coordinators, and yeah, did you think before to move to LA? Because it's the land of movie making, and I think that would be a great place for a movie maker to settle down.
Yeah, well, I don't actually live in LA. I live in Vegas, Las
Yeah, yeah,
Vegas. It's still like an hour flight to LA, but I think it's because I get to meet new people with new energies, and everyone's making films all the time, right? So in Australia, I might be the one who's always the crazy one, but in America, there's everyone's crazy. Everyone's always making films, so it's really exciting. I feel like I belong because I get to thrive with people who are making and who are open to collaborating. So yeah, so that's why I feel like I get to build my skills up even further in a place that it's just normal to make stuff. Yeah.
yeah. And now we move to talk about your professional career. What was your first professional job?
My first job, I was in a role called a youth digital coordinator. So what that means is that I used to create programs
Yeah,
like workshops, programs for young people in the area of Western Sydney. And I would create like filmmaking workshops, acting workshops, music workshops, anything that to do with the arts. I would design it and then also implement it for young people from different backgrounds or migrant backgrounds to be able to learn skills and express themselves. So that was sort of my one of my first jobs, yeah, that I did.
we move to talk, of course, about Hong Kong cinema, which is a tradition in my show. The 80s, of course, was the golden age of Hong Kong cinema. How
Mm.
this era influenced you?
As I said earlier, the era of Hong Kong cinema is a time where there was such an amazing export of films that were coming out from a region with people who look like me, Asians as the star of these
Yeah,
films. So, and like being in Australia at that time, we would not really get a chance to watch anything that resembles us. So all these films that we get on these VHS tapes were from Hong Kong cinema, whether they're sort of like cop movies or whether they're like period films or whether, and for me, the themes are always very similar. The themes are always about, the underdog, the person who
Yeah.
gets bullied, the loser, and they have to fight the bad guys. And it's always been a constant theme in my life and my childhood growing up. So it really influenced a lot for me because it allowed me to escape sometimes the circumstances that I'm in, or whether I've been bullied or racial attacks in Australia. Like, these films allow me to escape and feel like as if I belonged. So really, really like had an influence, and probably not only me, but a lot of young people, migrants, would connect to these films because they can feel like they place to express themselves. Yeah.
And of course, there is a lot of iconic names from that era, like Jackie Chan, of course, who's,
Yes.
like we say,
Jet,
the godfather of Hong Kong cinema. You
Jackie
know,
Chan, Yan, Jet Li, Michelle Yao,
yeah,
Michelle. Oh my God, there's so many. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Moon Lee.
Moonlit, of
Yeah.
course, though,
Cynthia Rothrock. Cynthia Rothrock, which I
indeed.
recently interviewed for my documentary Warriors. So I
Cool,
was able to interview a legend that was in my a documentary that I'm directing, which will be premiering soon next month.
of
So
course.
that's my bucket list.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to watch that because Cynthia was one of the iconic female actress back in the days in Hong Kong. She
Yeah.
managed to make a name for herself in Hong Kong. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm a
she was
huge fan of her, of
amazing.
course. And I'm
Yeah.
following her.
Mhm.
What does Jackie Chan represents to you? I know you did meet him on Bleeding Steel, I guess. Yeah, Bleeding Steel movie.
Well, Jackie Chan, like, what's funny? Because, like, I would always, prior to meeting Jackie Chan, he was always, for me, like a symbol of like anything is possible. And you need to take action, right? And then when I met him on Bleeding Steel, and when I really got to know him, and then I went on a road trip to Canberra with him, he was like a berating father. He was always very, what is it you want to do? Like, he was just very like, he was like my dad. I was
Yeah,
like,
so
my
protective, I think.
dad is very protective, and he's always very direct.
Ah,
What is
yeah.
it you want to do? What is it? Like, I was like, Jackie, I want to do this. I want to do like, but I think that's quite endearing because you realize that, a lot of these like idols that you look up to growing up, they're just kind of like your family members sometimes,
Yeah,
the more they care about you, the more they're going to interrogate you and really try to help you figure out what you really want to do. So, no, Jackie was a very unique and a memory that I will never forget. Meeting him, going on a road trip with him, as well as seeing how he looks after his team members, how
yeah,
how he cares about people. He'll serve people first before he eats.
himself.
He'll pick up rubbish,
Yeah,
on the set.
he's
It's
well
amazing.
known for that. Yes, he works always on the set like everyone else.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great leadership, of course.
Mm, mm. So once I met him, I got more inspired to continue doing what I do. I'm like, if Jackie can do it, then I can be the next generation. I do what I
Of
do.
course.
Of course, I'm not going to be as physically capable like Jackie, but then I could be a storyteller. I could create the next generation of, a very heartwarming films or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Mm, mm.
I know he did film Mr. Nice Guy in the 90s, I think, in Australia.
Yeah.
How
Mm.
old were you at that time? Were you influenced by Jackie Chan at that time?
I think, look, Jackie Chan would have been around since I was in primary school, like
Ah, yeah,
Rumble in the Bronx. Yeah, that's where I saw him in. And then even Drunken Master, I've seen that.
yeah,
Like, I remember certain films, like Rumble in the Bronx, I love. It was iconic to me growing up. And then we saw the Rush Hour, that was amazing as well. So, I think once he made it into Hollywood, you can start to see a lot of his works get like seen in the
In
western
the
side of
Western,
the world.
yes.
And that was quite of a big deal because back then, how many Asians are on screen? You know what I mean? So
Yes, of
it
course.
was quite
Not
influential
much.
to see that. Mm.
What films do you consider as your top three movies from Hong Kong?
Top three. Wow. I still love Drunken Master.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. It's
I used
iconic
to
martial art movie.
I used to watch a lot of the Inner Line of Duty,
Ah,
like
yeah.
one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, or something. Yeah, yeah, that was so cool because I never seen a good woman who's a cop and she's so capable and she's fighting the bad guys, and that was always so much fun to watch. And then I love stuff with what was it? Storm Riders. I think that was also something that was a time where Hong Kong cinema had a lot of CGI and like
Yeah,
old sort of like kind of period films, but there's a lot of CGI and fantasy elements
yeah,
to it. We enjoyed that. So yes, I think those are the three. And then of course Chow Yun Fat with Hard Boiled and
yeah.
yeah. And then you got the Young and Dangerous series as well, the gangster series, the triads. That was kind of cool. So I grew up with watching those types of films. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So inspiring indeed.
Mm.
Of course, we move to talk about COVID time. It was a rough period on everyone, which affected lives and jobs of many people, whereas many others used it to learn new skills and do their side stuff. How did you
Mm.
use the lockdown time?
Lockdown in Australia was pretty tough. Like
Yeah,
there was a point where we couldn't go anywhere 5 kilometers from where we lived. We had to stay within five
yeah,
kilometers
yeah, of course.
of our
It
house
was
for months,
difficult time.
right? So it's pretty difficult. So I think during that time, me and Takashi, we were probably in post production for Echo 8. And also, we kept on playing around with the green screen. And like, we did a little series
Yeah,
where it's got me trying to like, be in Arnold Schwarzenegger films. And I've got this crazy like comedy character named My Bick, and she's like trying to like get Arnie's attention. Like it's yeah. So we played around with a lot of green screen comedy. So it kind of gave us an understanding that maybe the world's gonna move into a space where we might need to do a lot of visual effects in future. So that was kind of fun. So we kind of upskilled, and I think I most of my work became teaching online.
ah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I was quite lucky, fortunate that different organizations would hire me to run training programs, leadership stuff, communication, uh, creativity stuff as well. So that kept me going. Yeah, I think I don't know. For me, COVID wasn't as bad for my experience. It was just more of having to be very creative, and because we all lived in the same house, we have to figure out where to have our own creative
of
spaces and
course.
how to activate the spaces as well. Like, because at that time we were living with my dad, and after a while, I'm like, Dad, you want to be in my COVID videos? And then he'll come in and he'll do hand washing videos and the green screen, and stuff like that. Just really fun things like that. And he got the chance to do a lot of his singing, and then we'll film it and we'll put like a beach background for him because I want a beach in the back. I'm like, okay, I'll give you a beach, Dad. So it was a good chance to bond with my
Yeah,
father,
of
my
course.
mom.
Yeah, it's a family
And
time. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I know COVID, of course, as I said, affected lives and jobs of many people. How COVID affected movie business in Australia?
I don't think at that time there was any movie business. Everything was kind of shut down.
Yeah,
Like everything was. And like, yeah, like it was just almost non-existent. I think the only thing that people can do was probably write, because as writers you can
yeah,
always keep on
writing scripts and
writing.
putting
But
ideas.
but everything else would have been pretty like it was not like you will have to find another job pretty much. But in Australia there was a lot of support from the government financially, so I don't think people were suffering a lot. in
Yeah,
comparison to other countries in the world. So I think Australia's lucky in that, but we did have severe lockdowns.
yeah,
Like we were, I think I remember the military were flying around on the helicopters, making sure the people didn't, leave their home at a certain time and or something like that, or pass a certain kilometer. People get fined, for stuff like
for
that.
that,
Mm.
yes. It
Mm.
was difficult time, of course, on everyone. And
Yes.
finally, now things are getting back to normal.
Mm.
And the movie business, of course, is flourishing once again.
Mm.
Uh,
Well, kind of, because at the moment in the US, there's all the strikes. So,
yes, yes, SAG-AFTRA strikes, yes?
yep,
Yes,
SAG, and you got the WGA.
yeah,
So, pretty much you wouldn't be able to, I don't think things are getting filmed
yeah,
unless it's like independent cinema.
yes, of
Um,
course. And they
so
think it
there's
will last for more few months, I guess.
I think so because the last one lasted for quite a while, and this time they've got the writers and the actors together,
Yeah,
and they're fighting against AI as well as the big corporates, because we know movie making, like it's like $1 billion industry, but at the same time, the people who are the creatives don't really get that money. It's usually people on top, the
yes,
corporates,
of
right?
course, yes.
So I think they're really fighting for some sort of equity between that as well as protection, because now AI is becoming quite
Yes, it's
um,
destroying the creativity and talent of
well,
people.
I feel like we can't stop it. So, but at the same time, if there are things like, for example, like, having actors' images, like they're saying like background actors are now getting scanned and then they can be used,
Of course,
for
yes.
whatever,
Yeah.
and not get paid for it, which is not really fair. So we're hoping that there's going to be laws around that to compensate performers. Otherwise, creatives are going to like suffer so badly.
Yeah,
You know,
indeed,
and
of course. It's
I don't think you can make a whole movie with AI and have the same feeling. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
people think that AI can make a movie, but I still feel like you can feel it. Like it doesn't feel like human. It doesn't feel like it's authentic. There's a missing thing that I think only humans can offer. Yeah.
Indeed, yes. It's the AI really it will cause many damage if there is no solutions for that because me as an artist, as a caricature artist, I see there is a lot of AI artworks
Mm.
generated by the AI, and I think that will hurt a lot of independent art makers, and
Mm.
it's really bad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the industry, as I said, there's so much changes that are happening, and there'll probably be like industries that probably collapse, and then there'll be other things. There'll be a demand for new things as well. So I think there's a like I feel like what, last year to now, there's so many changes. Like I haven't even heard of AI for like 2 years ago. We didn't even
Indeed,
hear the word
yes,
AI,
it's all new, of
right?
course, yes. Chat
And now this
GPT and
this year, it's like it's just everywhere. Like you hear it. It's just a thing now. So
yeah,
who knows what's going to happen next?
of course, yes, yes, and it's limit the AI might limit the intelligence of people because now even if the AI could write scripts for you. If you see the
Yes.
chat GPT, you only give him
Yes.
the idea you want, and he could write a complete script for you. And I
Oh
think
yeah, but
it's
it's not the same though. Like it does feel AI. Like it doesn't feel like like it just feels weird.
yeah, weird,
So
of course. But
yeah, yeah.
this will advance with the years. This is only the beginning of the AI.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We don't
we'll see,
know. Like
of
it
course.
could advance, or I have a feeling it'll probably advance because that's
Of-
just how things
Yeah, that's the
move.
future, of course. Yeah,
Mm,
future
mm,
and technology.
yeah. Mm.
Okay, Maria, let's talk about yourself once again. How do you see your career from the very beginning until now? Are you satisfied about what you accomplished so far?
Well, you know what? I feel like it's been a very long journey. Um, and I haven't stopped. So I feel like, and I like. every now and then, when I think that, oh, maybe this is not good, maybe I should stop. Like, something opportunities still come. I always said that I'll stop when I get no more opportunities
Yeah,
and I'm broke. You know what I mean?
of
So I
course.
haven't got to that point yet. So I think it's okay. So yeah, I'm quite satisfied. But then at the same time, I do realize that maybe the reason why I have to keep on doing what I do is because I want to inspire more people to do it as well.
Of course.
There's a way outside the system to do it, and the fact that being independent artists and filmmaker is needed in the world because we have individual thought and we want to make stuff that really connects with people's hearts and really change the world and how they think about certain subject matters. So I really do believe that, and I think as I get older, I feel like I'm more wiser, and the work that I make has more meaning, and I think it will just keep on evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, really great, Maria.
Mm.
Okay, there is one big question, of course, I ask for all my guests. How do you see yourself 10 years from now, Maria?
10 years, I'll be 48. Okay.
In movie business,
Interesting.
of course, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
your life in
definitely.
general.
I would probably say that in 10 years' time, I feel like I'm going to be quite established. And like I personally would say that I would probably be still acting. I'll be mixture. I'll be acting, but then I'll be producing a lot of my stuff and then producing films, probably have a studio, like my own production
Yeah,
company that other companies want to contract out to create works. I feel like I want to create some sort of teaching, like so school, whether it's online or
yeah,
to make that I've done accessible. Probably have a book somewhere, probably travel the world. Yeah, I think I'll still be quite energized to do a lot of that. But I think name wise, I feel like I'll probably be known a little bit more and taken a lot more seriously, especially with like the bigger studio people or in the
yeah,
system. So, because sometimes I look at me and like, oh, you're just like this Asian little girl. I'm like, I'm not little, okay. I look young, but I'm quite knowledgeable too.
of
And
course.
but I think it will come. Like I know in 10 years' time because things always change. The people who are on top, they'll probably retire and they need the next generation to move in those positions. And by that time, I feel like I'll be very capable because I can project and see that that's where I'm going to head. Mm.
Yeah, really great, Maria.
Mm.
Your long journey, of course, was full of achievements, and of course, those achievements didn't come up randomly. There have been a lot of practice, takes, processing, training, failures, repetitions. This diverse journey made you what you are now. What advices do you have for beginners or anyone desires to get involved in movie making?
I feel like with whether it's movie making or any other field, you really got to have to develop yourself. Like you really got to find ways to really build yourself up like a warrior because life isn't always easy. There will be always ups and downs, and there will be always challenges. I think our lives are like from one problem to the next problem or a crisis, right?
Yeah,
So we have to learn to accept that as well as learn to persevere and also learn that, all the things that we get are opportunities for us to show up and show our character to the world. So especially for film wise, it's not easy. Even though you might have the money and the resources, you might not be able to have a good film. And then you've got people who don't have money and resources who feel like they can't make a film. Well, you can make a film. So I really want to change people's mindsets on how they can participate in the film industry and why it's important for them to participate. Because when we participate in filmmaking, we get a chance to put stories that we feel we want to show the world. Because when people watch it, it's sometimes I feel like you can change people's mindsets about certain groups. You can be able to stop racism. You can stop people hating different cultures or
yeah,
whatever, right? Through a film. Film is is such a beautiful vehicle for creating social change. And I want people to realize that when they become a filmmaker, it's not just for fun and games. There is some big magic behind that. And there is a social, like cause or reasoning for you to be able to take on board. Like for me, I do action genre. Some people go, oh, action genre. That's just like, it's schlocky. But I'm saying, there's not a lot of women in it, and action genres really a genre that is so popular, yet there's not a lot of women, and I want to change the
That, yeah.
gender gap, by participating, so that still again is a social change, so stuff like that. Yeah, so whenever you participate in something, realize the value of what you offer, and going down the road less taken is probably where the change is needed. But if you go to where everyone else is going, then everyone else is doing that. So do the hard thing. Do go down the path that is being least taken, because that's the path that is going to create so much change for everyone else to experience in the world.
How to follow you, Maria, on the social media?
I guess I'm pretty reachable. I've got my Insta, mariatran.co, Facebook, Action Film Girl, website, mariatran.co. Like people
Yeah,
can pretty much reach me. I do get lots of people reaching out to me. I don't always reply back, but
of
if
course.
you reach out with something quite unique,
Yeah,
probably because I'm
yeah,
a funny person. Like I'm quite quirky, So for
yeah.
me, as a quirky mind, something unique, interesting gets my attention. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I see that because once I reached you about this podcast, you liked the idea and accepting being part of
Oh
this, and I really appreciate that.
yeah,
Thanks a
yeah.
lot.
No, because I see the value in what you're trying to do. For me, it's always about an individual and their plight to creating more value for the world. And when you reached out to me, I'm like, oh, he's the guy that does the cartoonist. He's the
Yeah.
cartoonist. Now he's doing the podcast. This is amazing.
Um,
Wow, it's a different thing, but
Thanks, of
I'm glad
course.
that he's so courageous to take on something that is new. I loved
Thanks a
it.
lot. Yeah, I appreciate it, my friend, and it's been
Yeah.
a great pleasure having you, Maria. Thanks a
Thank
lot
you.
for your time, for being part of this concept and growing this concept, this humble concept. I've been working on this for several years, and finally it's
Mm,
happening. And yeah,
fantastic.
thanks a lot, Maria, and see you soon. Have a good time.
Thank you for having me on Indie Talks. And I have a feeling it's going to grow bigger and bigger. So you just keep going, okay?
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I'll try that, of course, and I'm working on it. And thank you for your support. Yeah, I appreciate it, my friend. So have a good day and take care of yourself.
Thank you.